Hey guys, how's it going? Melody here. Welcome to today's video. Today I'm gonna talk about the new Avatar movie, the Asian one, the not the blue people one, the Asian one. Okay, there are two avatars that are very famous and all of that. One is the blue one, the other one is the Asian one. I mean the Asian one. Okay, the Asian one. Also, why am I playing Palworld? Yeah, I recently got Palworld. I just bought it recently. Sorry, I'm stimming a lot recently. Lately, I've been stimming a lot. Like lately, so there might be quite a fair bit of interruptions during the video. Also, yes, I bought Palworld recently. Why am I playing this as background instead of Minecraft? Well, you are not gonna believe this, but my account got hacked again. The new account on which I bought Minecraft again. Yeah, that got hacked as well. Uh, yeah, I know that's an L on my part. I took a massive L with that. That's kinda embarrassing, and a bunch of my accounts are getting hacked. Actually, not just my new Microsoft account to play Minecraft on, but also my email accounts are getting hacked. My main email account, my YouTube channel email account, and my favorite YouTubers email account. Yeah, on that email account I just subscribe to the YouTubers I actually enjoy watching. So, people like Dan DDM Markiplier, uh all of them. And I just keep that account to watch YouTubers who I actually enjoy watching. So yeah, also on my main email account there's Nile Red and Nile Blue, and yeah, I enjoy watching Nile Red and Nile Blue, as well as Redstoners who have subscribed to Purplus. Regardless, as I was saying, yeah, my accounts are getting hacked. I just changed the passwords on a lot of my accounts. Yeah, I had to change a password on a lot of the accounts. This time though, I have my passwords saved in my notebook, and they're not saved digitally. I've made sure not to save them digitally. They're all saved in my notebook. So I have to take out my notebook whenever I have to log into one of my accounts. I don't know if I've changed the password for each and every single one of my accounts, but I think I did a fair bit of my accounts. So every time I have to log into my account, I have to look into the notebook to see what the password is. Hopefully that's more secure. I didn't know you could do this. Okay, regardless, Avatar movie. Right, what did I think about the Avatar movie? I just finished watching it. And my first reaction is that, the new Avatar movie is actually kinda good, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Right? It's actually kinda good. So, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the movie. Aang kinda resurrects this. Aang resurrects this airbender guy called Toga or some shit like that. And this guy, we think he's chill, but he's not chill. Bro is vengeful as fuck. Bro just wants to do airbender supremacy. Yeah, he just wants to do airbender supremacy. Basically, he is pessimistic. He is from the world where the different nations did not get along that well, right? And they used to always fight each other for supremacy. And he saw all his comrades die brutally in warfare. And thus, he becomes kinda vengeful. seeing all his comrades die like that, trying to bring everyone to peace, that he decides that fuck this shit. We airbenders must think of ourselves and all of that, right? And then so he becomes so airbenders are the ones who try to fight back against supremacy of any one element over the other. But this guy realizes, but this guy's like, everyone's fight. This guy's like, the world is the way it is. Everyone's gonna fight for their own, and we must also fight for our own, right? And he doesn't hold back anything. He actually almost murders Aang and his friends. Yeah. Also, to contrast, right? It's a strong contrast because the airbenders in the Avatar world are seen as these peaceful people, right? Who don't actually do any harm necessarily. They just they don't do any harm necessarily, right? They just believe in peaceful living. So he's quite a contrast, right? Because of the peaceful living, he has seen people annihilate his people, and he decides to go ahead and do the opposite of that. And in doing so, he's foregoing everything that made the Airbender culture what it is, right? He is foregoing the peaceful way and all of that, right? So Aang gets pretty mad about that toward the end of the movie. Like, and yep, they both fight, right? So yeah, it's also like a nice foil to Aang, I guess. Yeah. So I guess the movie is quite deep narratively. Yeah, initially Aang thinks that Toga is his friend, but Toga betrays them so bad. And Aang sees Toga towards the end of the movie as someone who has poisoned his dream and poisoned his culture, because while they both want to do good for their own people, Aang actually upholds peaceful ways and all of that, whereas Toga has forgone everything just to only care about fighting for his people and his people only, right? So that's quite a nice contrast and thematic there. Yeah. Also, I should have realized this sooner. While towards the end of the movie, I realized some things. As someone who is heavily into mythologies of various parts of the world, right? I've learned about Greek mythology, and kinda. I've learned about Norse mythology, kinda. So as that kind of a nerdy person, I should have realized this sooner. I don't know why I didn't realize this, but in Hinduism, there is something called Dharma, and Vishnu, one of the primordial gods in Hinduism, actually comes down to earth as a human, or I guess Narsama, but basically his avatar forms, right? He has many avatar forms. And Vishnu's role is to maintain the universe, right? So Brahma is the creation, Vishnu is the maintenance, and Shiva is the destroyer. And so Vishnu's whole shtick is to maintain the universe. And in order to maintain the universe, there is a thing in Hinduism called Dharma, which is basically like in the universe the way it is, right? The universe the way it is. What it means is that everything in the universe must be as it is. A soldier must fight. A mother must take care of her children, so must the father as well. A king must lead his people. Anyone who deviates from that is going against Dharma, and that's a big no-no in the world of Shiva, right? So in Mahabharata, did I say Shiva? I meant Vishnu. So in Mahabharata, Vishnu comes down as in his avatar form, Krishna, and Arjuna feels pretty apprehensive about fighting in a war because the people he's fighting against, the enemy kingdom, basically the enemy army, has a lot of people in it that Arjuna grew up with. Some of them took care of Arjuna when he was a child, and all of that. So Arjuna. Sorry guys, I'm stimming quite a lot. Yeah, I know I'm stimming quite a lot lately. Right? Autism go brrr. Autism be crazy, bruh. Anyway. So Arjuna is feeling pretty apprehensive because he sees these people in the opposing army who he knew personally, right? Who he grew up with and all of that. Right? And Krishna, the avatar of Vishnu, reminds Arjuna of his duty, of his role as the soldier in the war, right? As a soldier, his duty is to fight in the war, regardless of how he feels about it, right? And he uses his divine powers to show Arjuna that his role right now is to fight in the war. Right, so Dharma means duty, but it is also the way of the universe. The universe must be maintained in a certain way, and that's what Vishnu tries to do, right? Now, how does it connect to Avatar the Last Airbender? Well, in Avatar the Last Airbender, the Avatar is a person who is given immense amount of power, and they are reborn every time, right? So there's a circle of death and rebirth, which is there in both Hinduism and Buddhism. Sorry, I do not know much about Buddhism, but I do know that it shares this one thing with Hinduism, where if you die, you are born again right? And sometimes there is karma, where if you did bad in your previous life, you'll end up as a beggar in your next life, and if you did good in your previous life, you'll end up pretty well in your next life, right? So there's death and rebirth. Obviously, the Avatar in Avatar the Last Airbender, the Avatar dies and is reborn again, right? So when Aang dies, Korra is born, right? So that's the thing, right? But here's the thing though. What is the job of the Avatar in Avatar the Last Airbender? Avatar the Last Airbender, Aang's job and the other Avatar's job as well is to keep the world safe, right? And how are they keeping the world safe? Is by bringing balance among the elements, right? There must be no one element that overpowers the other. They must all be in balance with one another. Kinda like Vishnu, when he comes down to earth in his avatar form, he does so in order to try and maintain the universe, right? So, as Shiva, as Krishna, he reminded Arjuna of his duty in war as the soldier. So only comes down to earth when there is something wrong, and he comes down to earth to restore balance, right? Kinda like the Avatar's duty in Avatar the Last Airbender. Aang's duty is to keep balance, just like Vishnu's duty as Krishna or any other avatar form of his, is to keep balance in the universe, to maintain the universe by keeping balance, and thus the avatar, like Aang, tries to keep balance among the elements, right? Roku tries to stop Sozin from like destroying the other elements, and Aang against Roku's war and all of that, right? So there is a similarity between like Vishnu and his avatars, and like uh, uh, Avatar the Last Airbender, right? There are similarities there. I don't know why I did not realize this earlier and why I'm only realizing it now. I should have realized it earlier, dude. But yeah. Also, what other parallels can I draw from like mythology? I guess Toga could be considered Shiva, the way he was trying to destroy, but I think that would be a loose connection. That would be a loose connection, dude. But yeah. What else have I got to say about the movie other than the thematics, Aang's arc? Oh yeah, Aang also feels pretty guilty about leaving his people when he was like 12 years old. Which is like, he was 12 years of age. But yeah, Aang has guilt about it, and towards the end of the movie, he realized from Tuga's example that holding on to the past like that can only bring bad things to his psyche and all of that shit, right? So he learns to let go of his past to forgive himself, right? So yeah, that's basically Aang's plotline, right? Instead of holding on to the past, where his people are dead and all of that, he decides to look to the future, and thus he creates the air acolytes, who are like airbenders, kinda without the airbending. Well, they get airbending later on. Oh yeah, them getting airbending as well later on is like, in Avatar Legends of Korra, right? Avatar Legend of Korra, the non-benders actually get airbending abilities. It's the universe trying to keep balance, right? In its natural way. I guess that connects to like East Asian philosophy and mythology, where it's like the universe always finds a way to keep balance, right? Isn't that there in East Asian philosophy where the universe naturally finds a balance when there are certain phases when the universe goes out of balance, but it will always naturally return to its balance, and thus in the Avatar world, the universe finds its balance again by returning the airbenders, by having the non-benders become the airbenders, and thus balance is restored again, right? So, but then that's Avatar Legend of Korra thing. What else did I think about the movie? What else did I think of the movie? I don't know about the plot lines of like the other characters in the story. I guess I guess that was probably because I was mainly focusing on Aang's plotline and the other guy's plotline, two guys' plotline. But but I guess I overlooked the plotline of the other characters in the team, like what what's her name? Kitara, Kitara and Sokka and Dove, right? So, are you one of mine? No, you're not. Hold on. Actually, this one just gives fluid, right? Which is not useful for me. Um, Here, let's see. Um, yeah. Also, there is a The Knight in the movie who are like non-benders that feel pretty vengeful. The benders have all the amazing powers while they don't have those powers. It's kinda like regurgitating the plotline from Avatar Legends of Korra where there are the people led by what's his name? I don't know his name, but the non the non-bender rebellion also happens in Avatar Legends of Korra, right? So kinda regurgitating that, but I don't think it was regurgitating that same plotline. I think it was pre-planned because when you look at it, it's kind of weird how in Avatar Legends of Korra they just naturally had multiple bison just lying around somehow. When during Aang's time, Oppa was supposed to be the last air bison, right? And then during Korra's time, all of a sudden you see various different air bison, right? And that's not actually explained in the show. But then the movie explains it, right? Aang and the others actually find a place where these air bisons were, and and turns out they did not actually go extinct. They were just in this one place, which no one stumbled across in 100 years somehow. But yeah, so that ties it together, right? Yeah, that ties it together. Also, I've got a word of advice for that Avatar lady, whatever her name was. The one with the staff, right? The one with the magical, powerful staff of the spirit staff, the staff made of spirit energy. The word of advice is that maybe do not disappear where you left Doga buried in ice. Maybe do not disappear right there. Because the thing is, there are a ton of like daring adventuring archaeologists and historians in the world, right? A ton of daring archaeologists and historians in the world who are ready for adventure. And given that she is a legendary avatar, people would likely track her down. And thus her choosing to disappear in the place she left Doga in means that a lot of people curious about legends who are ready for adventures and who chase legends will likely track her down to that mountain where she left Doga and likely free him. That's exactly what happens with Aang because she's set to disappear where she left Doga, and thus Aang goes there hoping to find her but ends up finding Doga instead, right? So maybe choose to disappear somewhere other than where you left the main villain of the story, right? That would be pretty wise, wouldn't it? If you decide to disappear, maybe do it away from where you left the main villain so that people wouldn't wouldn't track your location to Doga and accidentally free him like Aang did. But yeah, that's a word of advice for the Avatar with the staff. But yeah, what else have I got to say about the movie? I think the visuals are pretty good. Like, the movie was actually trying to depict some like cool, beautiful visuals with the cities and the landscapes and all of that. Looked kinda painterly. Um, yeah, what else have I got to say about the movie? Hold on, let me drink some flavored water real quick. My god, why is it shut so tight? do the Balls recover in this world? I don't know, but let's get this, why not? So what else have I got to say about the movie? Let's see. Let me try to think of the plot lines for the other characters in the movie. Right, because there was Zuko. Also, that scene with Zuko was pretty hilarious. When Aang sends a letter to Zuko, and the messenger acts all weird when he's asked to read the letter because he does not want to expose any gossip. But then he ends up having to expose the gossip anyway. Bro could have just said, this looks private to me. How about you just read it in your mind, right? He could have just said that, dude. He could have just said that. He could have just simply said, it looks private to me. You can read it in your mind, right? Followed Zuko? He could have just said that, but nah, that wouldn't be as hilarious, dude. And how about your boring and how about your boring chancellor? Is he still annoying you? And then everyone in the console acts pretty awkward. Everyone in the console starts acting pretty awkward, and Chancellor is like, That scene was hilarious. I cracked up, dude. I laughed out pretty hard. Also, is that dust? Is there dust in this game? I think there's dust in the game, dude. Hold on, is there dust? No, that just comes up when you're jumping. Yeah, that part was pretty hilarious. I can't think of the plot lines for the other characters, so I guess that's all I have got to say about the movie. Mainly about Aang and Toga. And, yeah. In this movie, the other characters don't have that much of a plot line, do they? Which is fine because Aang's plotline was pretty deep enough in terms of thematics and all of that. And also the cabbages guy. Bro is extra dramatic this time when he says, my cabbages! He is extra dramatic this time. He's like, damn. He's like so fucking done with this shit, dude. He's so fucking done with everyone disrespecting his cabbages. He was so dramatic with the line this time that yeah. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else to say about the movie. So I'll see you guys next time. Until then, bye bye!